2000, Lafayette, Louisiana. What if the memories of war didn't die with the soldier, but lived on in a child? A young boy, barely old enough to speak in full sentences, began waking in the night with screams so piercing they shook the walls. His parents would rush in, finding him thrashing, clutching at his chest, crying out that his plane was on fire. The words made no sense. He was only 2 years old. At first they thought it was imagination, the strange corners of a child's dream. But the nightmares grew worse. He shouted names they didn't recognize, pointed at the sky with panic in his eyes, and begged to be freed from a cockpit no one else could see. His tiny hands would mimic the twisting of controls, his body jerking as though he were crashing into something invisible. By day, the child spoke with clarity far beyond his years. He talked about flying planes and mentioned pieces of machinery, drop tanks, propellers, corsairs. His parents were stunned. How could a toddler, who still played with toy trucks, describe aviation with such frightening accuracy? And then there was the drawing. Over and over, the boy sketched planes locked in battle, each one trailing fire and smoke. He signed them all with the same name, James. When his mother asked why, the boy replied simply, "That's me." The family grew unsettled. Trips to museums brought no relief. He walked straight to the World War II exhibits, as if revisiting old friends. He whispered about islands across the ocean he had never seen, and once, with tears in his eyes, he pointed at a painted scene of a carrier ship and said, "That's where my plane took off." At last, desperate for answers, his parents began digging through history. What they uncovered left them trembling. During the Second World War, the USS Natoma Bay fought in the Pacific, near Iwo Jima. Records revealed a young pilot, James Houston Jr., whose plane was struck and consumed by fire. He never made it home. Veterans still alive from the squadron confirmed every detail. The crash, the island, even the moment his aircraft went down. Their memories matched the boy's words, and the name, James, was no coincidence. The child had never met these men, never studied their war, yet he carried their comrade's death like an unshakable shadow. So the question lingered in the Louisiana air long after the nightmares eased. Was this child born with memories that were never his? Or was he, in some way that defies reason, the restless spirit of a pilot who refused to be forgotten? Because sometimes, the past doesn't stay buried in history books. Sometimes, it wakes screaming in the body of a child, reminding us that not every soul finds peace when the war is over.